He saw it coming. You can tell by the way he froze before his legs started moving. That split-second pause, that's when Punch knew he had crossed a line. What happened next wasn't just a chase. It was a lesson being delivered in real time, a reminder that in a monkey troop, every action has a consequence. This is what happens when a young monkey breaks the code. The morning had started quietly. The troop moved through familiar routines, grooming sessions, minor squabbles over food, long stretches of rest in the sun. The hierarchy here is invisible but absolute. The older monkeys move with earned authority. The younger ones learn quickly where they can go, what they can touch, and who they should never challenge. Punch is still learning. Reports from observers suggest he's always been curious, sometimes to a fault. He tests boundaries the way young primates do, not out of defiance, but out of inexperience. He doesn't yet understand that certain spaces belong to certain individuals, that food left unattended isn't necessarily free to take. In the social structure of a macaque troop, these aren't written rules. They're enforced through glances, postures, and occasionally through direct confrontation. On this particular day, something shifted. Witnesses noted that Punch had been moving closer to an area where one of the adult males had been resting. It's unclear what drew him there, maybe food, maybe curiosity. But what's certain is this. At some point, Punch made a move he shouldn't have. Here's where the story gets tense. The adult monkey's body language changed instantly. No sound at first, just a shift in posture that made him seem twice his size. His shoulders squared. His gaze locked onto Punch with focused intensity. And Punch, who had been reaching forward, suddenly went still. That's when he realized. You can see the calculation happening behind his eyes. Punch doesn't immediately run. For a fraction of a second, he's frozen. His eyes are on the adult. The adult's eyes are on him. There's no ambiguity in that stare. It's a warning that's already expired. And then Punch moves. He doesn't walk backward. He doesn't retreat slowly. He explodes into motion. The enclosure, which moments before seemed quiet and unremarkable, suddenly transforms into a chase scene. Punch cuts across the open space with the kind of desperate speed that only comes from genuine fear. His limbs work in a blur. He's not looking back. There's no mental space for anything except the singular focus of getting away, getting distance, getting to safety. The adult follows. Not at full speed, not yet, but with deliberate, terrifying intent. This isn't playful. There's no rehearsal in these movements. The adult's face carries an expression that observers describe as unmistakably angry. Lips pulled back slightly, brow furrowed, every muscle engaged. He's not chasing Punch to teach a gentle lesson. He's chasing because a boundary was crossed, and violations demand response. The distance between them closes, then widens, then closes again as Punch weaves between structures. Other monkeys react immediately. Some scramble out of the path. Some freeze, heads turn to watch. A few younger monkeys cluster together, eyes tracking the action with what looks like fear mixed with fascination. No one intervenes. This is between Punch and the adult, and everyone understands that. But here's what people miss when they watch moments like this. It's not just about the chase. It's about the lesson being taught in real time. In a macaque troop, young monkeys don't just learn from their mothers. They learn from every interaction, every boundary they cross, every mistake they make. And this mistake, whatever it was, is teaching Punch something fundamental about how this society works. Punch reaches the far corner and makes a split-second decision. Instead of hiding on the ground, he scrambles up the metal framework. His hands find the bars with practiced ease, but he's never climbed like this, with this urgency, with an angry adult closing the distance behind him. He gets about 8 feet up and stops, wrapping both arms around a horizontal bar. He's breathing hard, eyes wide. The adult reaches the base and stops. For a long moment, it looks like the chase might continue. The adult stares up, his posture still radiating threat. But he doesn't climb. He holds his position at the base, making his point without closing the final distance. The message is clear. This space, this food, this moment, none of it was yours to take. And Punch, clinging to the bars above, doesn't come down. The troop begins to settle. The tension that spiked moments before starts to fade, but slowly. A few monkeys return to grooming. Others shift positions. The adult eventually moves away, but not far. He settles nearby, body angled to keep Punch in view. He's not maintaining active aggression, But he's not forgetting either. Punch stays where he is. Minutes pass, 5, then 10, then longer. He doesn't try to climb down. He doesn't make eye contact with anyone below. His grip on the metal bar remains tight, his body pressed against the structure as if trying to make himself as small as possible. Observers noted he remained in that elevated position for an unusually long time, not out of stubbornness, but genuine caution. He's not waiting for permission. He's waiting for the social atmosphere to shift, for the adult's attention to fully turn elsewhere, for the invisible tension in the air to dissipate enough that descent feels safe. This is the part that doesn't get told in quick clips or 30-second highlights. The aftermath, the extended stillness that follows dramatic action. Punch isn't playing now. He's not exploring or testing boundaries or engaging with other young monkeys. He's existing in a suspended state, holding the bars, watching the troop below with careful attention, trying to read the signs that might indicate when it's truly safe to rejoin the group at ground level. You'd think after enough time, things would simply reset, that the mistake would be forgotten. The chase would become just another moment in the ongoing flow of troop life. But macaque social memory doesn't work that way. Studies have demonstrated repeatedly that these animals remember social interactions with remarkable clarity, that they adjust their behavior based on past encounters, that violations of social rules leave impressions that can persist for days, weeks, even months. The adult who chased him will remember this. When Punch eventually comes down and moves through the enclosure in the hours and days that follow, that adult will notice. Their future interactions will be colored by what happened today. The other monkeys who watched will remember too, particularly the younger ones who are still learning the rules themselves. They just witnessed a live demonstration. That's what happens when you cross certain lines. That's the consequence of pushing boundaries too far. And Punch, more than anyone, will remember. This moment will shape how he moves through this space going forward, how he assesses risk, how he reads the subtle signals that indicate whether a space is truly available or just temporarily unoccupied. Eventually, it takes almost 20 minutes. The enclosure returns to something that looks normal. Grooming resumes. Minor squabbles over resting spots continue. The rhythm of the day reasserts itself. Finally, Punch begins to climb down. He does it slowly, checking constantly to see if his movement draws attention. When he reaches the ground, he doesn't walk toward the center of activity. He stays on the periphery, moving along the edge with careful steps. He doesn't go near where the incident started. He doesn't approach the adult who chased him. He doesn't even look in that direction. He moves like the space has been remapped in his mind, like areas that were neutral territory an hour ago are now danger zones to avoid. Because in a very real sense, that's exactly what happened. What happened today wasn't random. It was a crucial moment in a much longer education. Punch is learning the invisible rules that govern this troop, rules about space, hierarchy, respect, and he's learning them the way young primates always do, through direct experience, through trial and error, and sometimes through consequences that arrive with fury. The cameras captured the chase in vivid detail. They captured the moment of realization in Punch's posture, the explosive start of his flight, the determined pursuit by the adult male. They captured the fear in his movements as he scrambled up the metal framework, the threatening stance of the adult at the base. They captured the long aftermath, the minutes of frozen stillness, the gradual return to routine, the careful way Punch eventually descended and moved through the space like he was navigating a minefield. But what they couldn't capture, what no camera can truly document, is what Punch was thinking in that moment when he looked up and saw the adult staring back. Was it pure fear, the animal instinct to flee from immediate danger? Was it regret, a realization that he'd made a mistake? Was it understanding, a sudden comprehension of the social rule he'd violated? We don't have access to that internal experience. We can only watch the external behavior and try to construct meaning from movement, from posture, from the choices made in split seconds under pressure. What we do know is this: the troop has structure, order, unwritten laws that every member must navigate. Today, Punch ran into one of those laws and learned they're enforced with real consequence. Whether he fully understands why what he did was wrong, whether he's learned the specific lesson or just learned generalized fear, those are questions we can't answer with certainty. But we can watch what happens next. We can see if his behavior changes in the coming days. We can observe whether he gives that area wider berth, whether he's more cautious around the adult who chased him, whether this becomes a turning point or just one incident among many in the complicated process of growing up in a macaque troop. Tomorrow, Punch will wake in the same enclosure, surrounded by the same individuals, subject to the same invisible rules. The adult who chased him will still be there. The spaces that were off-limits today will likely be off-limits tomorrow. The boundary enforced today will still exist, still demand respect. The question is whether Punch has learned where that boundary is. Whether he'll remember not just the fear of being chased, but the context of what led to it. Some young monkeys learn quickly. One chase is enough. Others need multiple encounters before the pattern sinks in. We don't yet know which category Punch falls into. What we do know is that today's incident matters. It's data Punch's brain is processing right now. It's a reference point he'll carry forward into future interactions. It's part of the social education that will determine his place in this troop. The story doesn't end here. Every day brings new interactions, new opportunities for conflict or cooperation, new moments where Punch will have to make decisions about how to navigate this space in this social group. Today he made a decision that led to a chase. Tomorrow he'll make different decisions, informed by what happened today. If you want to see what happens next in Punch's journey, if you want to follow his ongoing education in the invisible rules that govern his life, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because this moment, this chase, this fear, this lesson is just one chapter in a much longer story. And the next chapter starts tomorrow.